What is up, y'all? Within today's video, we're going to be talking about the brand Foria that is sold at Ulta. I'm going to be so real with you guys. I never even heard of this brand until this whole drama occurred. And y'all, that just leads me to question some things. You guys know that I've made a video before talking about this. Sometimes I feel like brands want drama. Sometimes I feel like they like drama because y'all know the good old slogan is any press is good press. And I do think that sometimes brands, even though they're getting canceled, that draws in more attention to them and more people know about the brand. Do you know what I'm saying? And y'all, I'm gonna explain my full thoughts and opinions at the end of this video, but I really do question brands like this because I'm like, how are you a brand being sold at Ulta here in America in 2024 and you don't have inclusive shades? I just don't understand that. And specifically what they did to bring in inclusive shades just got even way more messy. This whole thing honestly is a big mess, but then I do question things because I'm like, is this bringing more attention to this brand? Also, I do want to touch on this topic because I do feel like recently I did mention this a couple times because I have talked about shade ranges as far as in Asia. This is a perfect example right here as far as like Asia has only X amount of, skin tones as to where here in America, y'all, we are diverse. We have so many different skin tones. If you're going to be opening up your product range to the American audience, you need to be inclusive. Do you know what I mean? I can totally understand how other countries, say for example, or continents, whatever, as far as Asia, I do feel like in some specific parts in Asia, though, that they do have deeper complexions and they do carry different complexion ranges. But I do know other parts, say, for example, like Japan and Korea, things like that, they really only have like 5 different shades of foundation because that's all they really need. I can give a pass to that. I can understand that, obviously, given their demographic. Here in America, though, if you're going to be coming out with a brand, you need to be inclusive. Do you know what I mean? Like, we have all different types of skin tones here. And I do understand that it's obviously hard for some brands to come out with 50 shades because, y'all, there is a minimum order of quantity. I do get it that it does cost a lot of money. But also, this is where I can say if you're going to be coming out with products at first, then I would come out with very, very sheer products that are very adaptable. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to be coming out with a full line of foundation, then it's like, okay, like, come on, make them inclusive, Recently, actually, somebody was talking about Louboutin's foundation shade range. I saw PR boxes that Michaela had gotten, other influencers, and I was like, oh, girl, like they don't have like any deep shades and they have like 30 light shades, and I'm just like, Louboutin has the money. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it's brands like that too that specifically should be called out, and I didn't hear really any drama about that. I just saw people saying, like, showing off their boxes. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, But also too, I would like to see swatches of everything because it's kind of like, once again, we've talked about this before. I feel like specifically when it came down to the Manny MUA Lunar Beauty Outer Dimension face palette, a lot of people were like, this is not deep enough. And then he actually sent me the palette and I was like, oh, whoa, this is actually way more deep than it looked online. So sometimes I want to see swatches of things. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so we're going to be talking about the brand Foria, y'all, because they're getting called out. And there's just so many TikToks I need to play with in today's video. Sorry if it gets very lengthy, but it is important, obviously, for context. So speaking of makeup too, I have done several new makeup videos. They are up on my channel. I did a full get ready with me. I'll go ahead and leave it linked down below. Make sure you guys check that out. And let me shut up and let's go ahead and get into it. So a few months ago, an influencer by the name of, I am so sorry if I pronounce her name wrong, I'm gonna say Gloria. I just want to call it like Gloria, but there's like, it's Gloria. I think that's how you say it, Gloria. She did a review of the deepest shade of the Foria foundation. I want to say this was in like November, December. And their deepest shade was just way too light for her. Now, because I do have several TikToks to play for you guys, I'm going to go ahead and skip on playing that very first one. You guys can see from right here, the deepest shade of foundation was just not deep enough. So I guess this went viral. It had like 2 million views on it, and Foria ended up seeing it, so they decided to be inclusive and create deeper shade ranges. Well, y'all, this influencer ended up purchasing the deepest shade of this. I guess they came out with the full extension of foundations and deeper shades. And y'all, she got the deepest one, and turns out that it's basically just like pure black pigment. Like basically they just took like a mascara, the same type of pigment that's in a mascara or a liquid eyeliner, and put it in the foundation. Y'all go to check this out right here.
Which side of my face is the black face paint or the Foria foundation? You can't tell. You know why? Tar in a bottle. This is jet black face paint, and this is the darkest shade of the Foria Date Night foundation. This is black face paint. This is the darkest shade of the Foria foundation. A few months ago, I tried the darkest shade of the Foria foundation. This is what it looked like on me. I'm gonna apply some of the foundation on this side of my face so you guys can see. Let's just go ahead and try to blend this out, you guys. Enough. Who is that color? I'm gonna wipe this off and let me put the paint all over my face. I'm literally just going in with the face paint. We're gonna do some painting, and let me just go ahead and blend it out with the brush. This is the darkest shade of the Foria foundation. This is black face paint. Sometimes it's okay to say, hey, maybe my brand is not made for complexion. I'm gonna squeeze a pump of this on my forehead just right out the bottle so you guys can see that I'm literally not joking. We're gonna do a big blend of this, you guys. When we say that we want you guys to make shades for us, we don't mean to go to the lab and ask for minstrel show black. What we mean is to take the browns that you have made, create undertones, and do what you need to do in the lab so it's a darker shade of brown. This is the darkest shade, shade 600, and as you guys can see in the bottle, literally jet black. The shade right next to it, shade 590. This is what it looks like in the bottle. Here is shade 600. You guys, there could be like 10 more shades in between these two shades. In addition to that, when we go to the actual website and we look at the swatch, not only is the swatch online literally jet black, there's literally only 4 or 5 shades for people that actually have dark complexions. Not really for black people, for being honest. Not only in 2024 is this so disgusting and disrespectful, but this needs to be pulled off the shelves.
Y'all can see from right there that is really, really dark. I am so sorry. Like, the fact that she put on a black face paint and it's like the same color as the foundation is low-key a trip. But I do want to say this, take it with a grain of salt though, because there were quite a few people in her comments saying, hey, you're not the deepest shade of foundation. There are actually people that are deeper than you. So people are saying this brand is now being inclusive and carrying the deepest shade possible of foundation. Now, obviously, I don't really know, what the deepest shade in the world is. I don't know who exactly this is good for. I remember, what was her name? Naima Tang, I believe her name was, that she would do like the deepest shade one. I do want to say, in my opinion, this is obviously just my opinion, I feel like this girl right here is almost the same shade as her. So I really wonder how that shade would look on Naima or Nima. I forget exactly how you pronounce her name. But also too, I don't remember if she pointed it out in that TikTok that I just showed you guys or in this TikTok that I'm going to show you next, that the brand, when they decided to do this, they actually just had a picture of the swatch. When they say, for example, have headshots of every single skin tone, on this specific one, there was just a picture of the swatch of foundation. Now, I did my own research, and I did go to Youthforia's website, and they do actually have a picture now of the person of who this foundation would be good for. So it is updated now. I don't know at the time of that. Maybe they just didn't update it. I don't really know, but either which way, it looks sketch. But other people were saying, well, try out your shade because they did make other shades in this. So go ahead and check this one out right here.
This is the second to darkest shade of the Foria foundation, shade 590. Let's try it. We're gonna go in with a pretty good pump. Clean brush, let's go blend this out. Coming in close so you guys can virtually see. As you guys can see, this foundation leans very red on me. In the summertime, not only would this not work, also this is typically not a foundation shade I would wear. This side of my face, I'm gonna go into the foundation that I typically always reach for, which is the About Face Beauty foundation, and it doesn't have a pump, so I'm gonna go in with a lot of it. Clean brush, and let's go ahead and blend this out. This is the About Face Beauty foundation that I would say is my true match. And this is 590 from Euphoria. I'm a little bit cooler than 590, guys. Which means Euphoria does not even make my shade. This is About Face. That's how a shade match should be. But this leans a bit red on me. This is shade 590. This is shade 600. How on earth did we go from this shade to this shade? There's no undertone, no depth, no dimension. And that's a problem. It goes far beyond it just being damn near black. I feel like we could have sat down with 590 a little bit longer, tweaked some undertones, added some more depth, added some more range, added a few more shades, and it would have ate. All that being said, obviously there are darker people than me. That was never something that I argued. However, I know that when it comes to the end of the spectrum of tone and color and complexion, I am of one of the darkest. I'm comparing the shade to black face paint because the shade literally lacks color at all because it's flat. It would not complement any skin tone, let alone the one that they're marketing it for. As you can see in these pictures, these don't even match the model that they're putting it on. Prior to that, the swatch page with all of the models literally just had a blank swatch of shade 600 and all of the other shades had models. So was this shade even tested on dark skin or did you just lazily put it out there? When I thought it couldn't get worse, the model that she actually decided to put on there, she street casted in Dubai, swatched both of the foundations on this model, and of course the shades didn't match because 590 was too warm and 600 was literally black. And then she went to go get pictures from a Passport Center photo booth and use that picture as a swatch reference.
So it is still questionable. Y'all, I do have to say too, by the way, speaking of which, I like that she shouted out About Face because y'all know I did a review of that foundation. I really like it. I feel like their shade range is really, really good, especially for a $22 foundation. And y'all, just a little tip right here. The $3.50 off coupon did work on Ulta. I did a review of it and I purchased it so you can get it cheaper than $22. So shout out to About Face for being super inclusive because honestly, I said that from the jump. I was like, oh, wow, like they are really, really good with their shade ranges, especially for the price too. Now, I do want to get into this because there is a cosmetic chemist by the name of Javon, I believe that's how or Jevin. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He basically, I've seen his videos before. I've actually talked about him before on my channel. I'm like, y'all, he is so smart. Listening to his videos and his TikToks makes me feel so stupid. Like, honestly, I'm like, he pronounces everything so good. I know, obviously, this is his expertise. This is what he went to school for. I get it. But I'm just like, damn, like, I couldn't even begin to try to pronounce half the words that he pronounces. And I'm like, he just knows everything about everything. So I really do feel like it's important to watch this TikTok too, because he does point out that this is pretty much just black pigment. So check this out.
Which side of my face is the black face paint or the Foria foundation? T, you can't tell.
I wanted y'all to see something first before folks start gaslighting her and other black creators in the comments. So this is one of Euphoria's lightest foundations. If you look here at the bottom of the ingredient list, you'll notice 3 different colors. Stay with me now. The CI stands for color index, and it basically represents titanium white, red, and yellow iron oxides. Pretty much the only colors you need to make a lighter shade of foundation. But then if we look at their darkest shade, the ingredient list tells a different story. Here, there's only one pigment, CI77499, which is just black iron oxide. No other colorants. This foundation literally only has pure black pigment. Here's a close-up if you missed it the first time. And before folks say, oh, maybe it's meant as a mixing pigment, that makes no sense. Anyone who's ever taken an art class will tell you that black is a terrible pigment to mix with, because it just makes things gray and muddy. And skin tones typically have some combination of eumelanin and pheomelanin. The pheomelanin is where we get the red and yellow undertones. And this problem is so avoidable, she literally could have used NARS or Fenty foundation shades as a benchmark. This brand does not care about us.
As y'all saw from right there, I'm so sorry. That's where things obviously do get a little bit tricky because he is pointing out that there is just pretty much just black pigment. He did make an update to this and he did comment. I don't remember if it was on his video or if it was on somebody else's video that he did make a little bit of a mistake, that there was just a little bit of white pigment in there, which he said would add a gray casting to it, as to where you guys know with undertones is either going to have something a little bit more warm or something a little bit more cool. You don't want to put white into a black pigment because that's going to make it gray. So this whole entire thing doesn't make any type of sense. I do low-key want to tread lightly, obviously, because I'm curious to know if there are any influencers out there who are that shade and say, for example, this is made for that deep, because then I do want to say, well, then maybe it is inclusive. Do you know what I mean? But also it does look like a lack of effort given there's no really like undertone to it. It's just like straight up black. So if you guys know of any influencers that are that deep, please let me know, because I'm really curious to see if anybody did an updated version of this to try it on. Like I said, in my opinion, I do believe that Naima is around the same skin tone as this girl right here. I do think that Naima may be just a tad bit deeper than her, but I'm not too sure. But you guys let me know if you guys happen to know, and let me know, tag the person down below if there is an updated version of this, because I'm so curious to know if that shade works on somebody. So anyways, make sure you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions about this, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, Girl Scout.